Hey everyone, we're here to talk about Daca today. I am immigration attorney Kalani Hawks Villafranca, and we have some great news for you because Daca is back. It is super exciting because this is the first time since 2017 when President Trump tried to cancel the Daca program. This is the first time since that day that he canceled the program that you've been able to apply for Daca if you've never had it before. So this is a really exciting day. So we're here today to talk about first-time Daca applications and advanced parole applications for people who already have Daca. We're going to go through the court's order that made this possible so you understand how we got here and what's possible for you right now. We're going to talk about how quickly you need to apply for Daca if you've never had it before, because the program could change again in the future. It has been subject to a lot of legal challenges, and it will continue to be as long as Trump is president, because he does not like the program. And we're going to talk about how to get your stuff ready to go. So the good news is that Daca first-time applications are being accepted. As of December 7th, 2020, Daca first-time applications are being accepted. That means if you qualify for Daca and you have never had it before, you can apply today, and you should apply as quickly as you can. Now, the reason the Daca first-time applications are available now is because that a court ruled last week that the government had to start accepting Daca first-time applications and that they had to update their website with clear instructions on how they were going to accept applications by yesterday. So yesterday evening, the government did update the instructions on the website to provide us guidance on how they would be accepting and processing Daca first-time applications. So let's go over the order. So yesterday, we've got it right here. The government updated their website. And so as of December 7th, 2020, the first thing, first-time Daca applications are being accepted. That is the first time that has been true since September of 2017. That is over 3 years that you have not been able to ask for Daca for the first time. So there are a lot of you out there waiting. I know that there are a lot of you who have been aging into the program because you have to be at least 15 years old to apply. I know there are a lot of you who were 14 and a half when the cancellation went into place, or who were trying to get the money together to apply for the first time. And you can now, and you should now, and I don't want you to wait. So as of yesterday, first-time Daca applications are available again. Daca renewal applications continue to be available. They have been available on and off, but they are definitely available now. And the government had tried to limit Daca renewal applications to just 1 year instead of 2. And the court ordered that that was not lawful, and they need to issue Daca renewals for 2 years. So if you apply for Daca now, your renewal, if approved, will be for 2 years. Now, some of you and some of my clients got caught in this period of time before this order was issued, where Daca renewals were being approved for only 1 year. If that's you, this court listened to your case and said that wasn't right. It's not lawful, and they're going to fix it. So what's going to happen is that the government is going to proactively seek out people who have been granted 1 year Daca renewals, and they will let them know that that was not appropriate, and they will be extending 1 year Daca grants for 2 years, and that includes your Daca grant and your work permit. So if you're my client, you know we've already been talking about this. We already had a plan to try and address it, but now it even is better and easier because the court ordered the government to affirmatively extend your 1 year grant to 2 years. So that's great. This order covers that as well. So we'll cover all that. If you have any questions about that, give us a call. We can help you figure that out. But hopefully the government will be able to contact you directly and get that updated status for you without having to need for you to do anything. We'll see if that works. That's the plan. Things don't always go according to plan with immigration. So we can help you guide that process if you need help. But that's where we are for now. Okay. So first-time Daca applications are being accepted. Renewals are being accepted. Anybody who got caught with a 1 year instead of a 2 year grant will be automatically extended for 2 years. Okay, that's really exciting. So you need to apply quickly. If you've never had Daca, now is the time to apply. And you need to apply as quickly as you can, because later this month, later in December of 2020, there is another court hearing that could change the program. Several states have asked a judge to end the program completely, to say that it is not lawful. And we don't know what's going to happen in that court hearing. And so we need you to get your application in as soon as possible. Do not delay. If you have been waiting 3 years for this moment, I don't want you to wait another 3 months. I want you to get your documents together today, tomorrow, the next day, and apply as soon as you possibly can in case something changes again. So I know we talked about this last week, but we're going to talk about it again because now we know that DACA applications are open. And so I want to review exactly who is eligible for DACA first-time applications so that you can get ready to go. All right, now, to be eligible for DACA, the first and most important thing is that you had to have been physically present in the United States on June 15th, 2012, when DACA was announced. And you had to be without any lawful immigration status on that day. If you had a visitor visa on that day, you're not eligible. If you had a student visa on that day, you're not eligible. Now, if you'd entered before and you had overstayed and on that day you didn't have a valid status, you are eligible for DACA. So just keep that in mind. You had to be in the country without a lawful immigration status on the day DACA was announced. Okay, if that's you, then what next? Then you had to have come to the United States before you were 16 years old. You have to have been continuously living in the United States since you came. Now, if you've left and come back, then we need to talk about it. There may be ways to say that you were still living here even while you were outside of the country, but that's a risky point for your application, and it's something that you really need to talk to an attorney about. So if you have been living here since June 15th, 2007, so that's 5 years before DACA was announced, you originally came before you were 16 and you were physically present in the US in June of 2012 when DACA was announced, then you may be eligible for DACA. Now, what else do you need? If we meet those basic requirements about dates and age, then we also have to prove that you meet some educational requirements. DACA was created to give children who had pursued certain educational requirements and who had stayed out of trouble with the law the ability to live and work here after they had been brought here as children. So that means you have to be able to show your educational background. You're eligible for DACA if you are currently enrolled in school or enrolled in a GED program, or if you've gotten your GED, which is the equivalent of your high school education, or if you've finished your high school education, or if you're enrolled in college. So any kind of educational requirement like that is important. You're not eligible if you dropped out of high school unless you are now enrolled in a GED program. So you have to show that you've either finished high school or enrolled in a GED program or have gotten that GED, or that you've gone on to higher education. Now there's one way to get around that is military service. Some people may have served in the military, Coast Guard, local military armed forces. If you have any sort of military service, check with an attorney. That might make up for that educational requirement if you don't meet the educational requirement. So last but not least, to be eligible for DACA, you have to have stayed out of any major trouble with the police. Now, if you have some minor criminal history, that might be okay. You're probably still going to be eligible for DACA. You need an attorney to carefully analyze your criminal history because some criminal history makes you ineligible for DACA and can get you deported. Some criminal history makes you eligible for DACA, but you need to submit a lot of very specific and extra information to prove that. And some criminal history is less concerning, but still needs to be paid attention to, and you need to submit the proper documentation. So regardless of any contact you've had with law enforcement, you need to really consult with a trusted immigration attorney to understand how that might impact your DACA application. But as long as you don't have some pretty severe criminal history, you're still going to be eligible for DACA. It may just mean that we need to submit some extra stuff with your application. Okay, so you have to be 15 years old right now to apply for DACA. If you are at least 15 years old right now, you can apply for DACA. Now, you may be able to apply if you're younger than 15 if you are already in deportation proceedings, or you were in deportation proceedings in the past and you've already been ordered deported. If that's you and you're younger than 15, you can still apply. So that's super important. So that's the first time eligibility for DACA. I want you to know that it can be a little time consuming to get the documents together for your DACA case. It can be really challenging because you need to be able to find one document for every 3 months that you've lived in the country. And that can be really hard. Educational documents can be really, really helpful. Medical documents can be really helpful. But sometimes you were 3 years old when you got to the country and you didn't enroll in school until you were 5 or 6. And how are you going to prove that you were here for several months or several years before you were ever enrolled in school or had to go to a doctor or anything like that? It can be hard. So start getting that stuff together now. Do not wait. And consult with a trusted immigration attorney who can guide you through the process. I want to make it really clear that you should not go to a notario for your case. I see clients every day who have trusted their case with notarios, who don't know what they're doing, and who have screwed up their cases. There are a lot of trusted immigration attorneys. There are a lot of trusted nonprofit organizations that have trusted immigration attorneys on staff to help you. Do not go to a notario. They don't know what they're doing. They're going to mess up your case. Okay, that's my PSA about notarios. I'll say it again. I've said it before. Que no vayan con notarios. Let's talk about advanced parole. Okay, what is advanced parole? Advanced parole is amazing because it can allow you to get your green card more easily in the future. Why is that? That's because if you've entered the country the last time without permission, then if you are eligible for a green card in the future, you have to leave the country to get that green card. And that's really frustrating. One, sometimes it's not possible because once you leave the country, you can get a permanent bar or other kinds of bars that you need a waiver for, and getting that waiver can be risky and it's not a guarantee. It's a whole mess. I think we can all agree staying inside the country is better than leaving the country to get your green card. Getting advanced parole gives you a lawful entry. Advanced parole is advanced permission to leave the country and re-enter. And it is a type of lawful entry. So if you have Daca, you are eligible to request advanced parole and to get special permission from the government to leave the country and come back in. Once you've come back in with your advanced parole, now you have a lawful entry. And if you're eligible to apply for a green card in the future, you may be able to stay in the country and get your green card in the country because of that lawful entry. And that's huge. It can change your case completely and can make your case faster, less risky, and more likely to be approved than if you have to go abroad. And so I want that for you. If you have Daca, I want you to be thinking about whether or not you should be requesting to travel with advanced parole. And I want you to think about it now, because the court order from December 7th, 2020, yesterday, reinstated advanced parole back to its original power and force. Advanced parole used to be available under Daca for a large number of things, and recently had been limited quite a lot, and the government had really stopped approving a lot of the advanced parole requests. So in talking to my Daca clients, we often decided now was not the time for them to apply for advanced parole because they may not meet the more stringent reduced requirements, or they were scared to leave the country and come back in under President Trump, who has been really hostile towards DACA recipients and the DACA program in general. But now, two things are true. Advanced parole, as of yesterday, because of the court order, is reinstated in its full force as it was when the DACA program was originally created. And two, we're going to have a new president in less than 2 months, 6 weeks at this point, maybe. And that new president is very supportive of DACA. So traveling under advanced parole, we expect to be less risky. It's never risk-free, but we expect it to be much less risky under the new Biden administration. So if you have Daca and you have no criminal history, I don't know that I really want you to travel if you have criminal history. Let's talk about it if you have criminal history, but I'm not sure I want that. It can be more risky. But if you have Daca, I want you to think about applying for advanced parole. I'm going to start calling my clients and getting them ready to submit their advanced parole applications. The people who really want to be doing that and who are good candidates, I want to go ahead and do it now. And so if that's you, think about whether or not you should submit an application now as well. For example, I have a client who is married to a U.S. citizen, and she's a DACA recipient. She's going to have to go to Ciudad Juarez to process her green card because her last entry was without permission. If she can get advanced parole and re-enter the country on that grant of advanced parole, we can get her green card here in the U.S. quickly and easily, and with a lot less risk and a lot less fear to her and her family. And that's what I want for you as well. So now's the time. There may be a short window of time to apply for this. But even if there's not, if it ends up that we have a longer amount of time than we fear, start now. Don't delay getting the status that you deserve. Give us a call. We would love to consult with you and help walk you through your U.S. immigration journey. Right now, if you're eligible for Daca, you're at the very beginning of that journey, and we would love to help you start it and move towards a more permanent status in the United States. Our number is 512-675-2945. Give us a call. We love working on Daca cases, and we would love to work with you. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye.